Has anybody been around since this post? This post has got me 9,000 followers. This is when I first started. And it's cool that back in May of 2020, it's cool to see how we evolve, or we should evolve. Each week, each day, I would look at the analytics, I would get feedback from you guys and learn what's best. How do you guys learn? I've got better at editing, captioning, less information. But what I'm going through now with week 3 of the running form clinic is all about this, the posture, leaning forward, leaning back. So this is the old way that I talked about it through PowerPoints and all these words and just tons of information at one time. And it's come a long way. So I want to say today, what is the perfect posture? Now I have a way to show you guys, are you a forward leaner or a backwards leaner? Or in the new lingo, are you a limp runner or a locked runner? Okay, I want to go through the last couple posts. Locked. This is so important. Sometimes when we say posture, sit up straight, there is a such thing as too straight. If you're upright and locked out when you're moving forward, I guarantee if you're upright and totally vertical when you are running, you are inefficient and you're locking out your low back. I talked before about it affects your aerodynamics, it affects your facet joints, your locking of the low back, and it's not as efficient. We don't have forward momentum if we're leaning back, and if you're leaning back, you're probably overstriding and landing too far in front of you. So this is how we're going to diagnose this with running. We're going to look at what's called that mid-stance position, where we're at our lowest point, and then we're going to freeze it. At that point, we'll notice that your thighs are going to be parallel and even. Lowest point. We looked last week with bounding at the highest point. So now we're at the lowest point. From here, this is how we're going to diagnose locking. So for locked runners, this is what we're going to see. See how I mentioned earlier, if we're totally vertical and upright, we're probably locking out. That stands true. Versus we don't want to be too far forward, and that's the limp or the forward leaner. So how we're going to measure this is we're going to first take a line. You can take a card and you can go and outline, and you can see, are those parallel? If they're parallel, you're good, you're neutral. If it makes this V, you're probably locked out. And to show you what the proper posture is, this is it. So you see how I've got that slight forward lean, and it's mainly at the ankles, not at the hips. And my tibia, the bottom bone, and my torso are both parallel. So this is what we're looking for. This is the neutral. On the other end of the spectrum, the limp runners, let's look at that criteria. So for this, we're gonna find that same spot, that mid-stance position. Lowest point, thighs parallel. From here, this is subtle, and I promise you guys will see some times where it's not so subtle. I'm gonna draw a line, and if you don't have a line, do the paper. You're gonna take this card, and you're gonna go to your knee. If your nose is poking out of the front of your knee, that is a fail. We're gonna call that leaning because we're leaning forward, we're limp. So this is how we diagnose. Is your nose past your knee? And again, why do we do this? If I'm falling forward, which running is a controlled fall, it's a learned skill, as I start falling forward, what happens? I want to shift my hips backwards to try to pull me back to prevent me from falling. What happens with that? My nose goes past. What happens with that? Stooping, low back pain. And see, these are subtle differences. Nose, face past, not here. Very subtle distances add up over time. And with the spine, the biomechanics of the spine, it doesn't take a whole lot to make a big change or a big effect on your low back. So from here, it's all about where is my weight distributed? Is it too far back? Is it too far forward? Is it just right over my center of mass? So I hope that was helpful. I'm gonna give you guys tons of ways to correct it, to find out what is neutral spine, what is neutral posture. I've delayed a bit because there's just so much info this week. I'm gonna delay this week 3 of when it's gonna come out. Sunday is going to be the live where I'm going to go over everybody's running form. Everybody that post it, we're going to go over weeks 1 through 3, over striding, bounding, and posture. And until then, I'm going to give you guys plenty of ways to correct for this. So please, questions, let me know.
Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Matt Minard, and I'm so passionate about helping you run safer. If you found this video helpful, if you could please subscribe and share it with your friends, I'd be forever grateful. I have shorter form content on my Instagram, Learn to Run, and then the longer stuff here, more lecture based, because I understand we come to different platforms for different reasons. So follow me over on Instagram if you want the short and sweet, and follow me on here if you want the longer breakdowns.